Life is precious, and we all have the opportunity of living it to the fullest. Unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. How do we account for our opportunities? How do we account for our time? How do we account for our relationships, health, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and careers? How do we account for the one life we have to live? I am so glad you asked. In this program, you will find answers to all of these questions and more. Welcome to the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore.
Good morning and welcome back to another episode of the Account for Your Life podcast. Today, what's in my future? We're still talking about the future, and we're going to look at something. A couple of ways of saying "go your way." We're going to look at two accounts. One I've already talked about, one I haven't, but we're going to look at these two accounts of going your way or going my way, going the way that you're being sent. So yesterday we talked about at the end of Matthew chapter 27, and Pilate was talking to the chief priest, and he was telling them to take a watch, and then he also said, "Go your way." Like go the way that you know how to do this best. Go seal up the stone as best you can. Now I want you to think about this. And I'm thinking about it because in my future, I'm looking at the way that I'm going, right? And I want to make sure that I'm listening to the right counsel, right? I'm listening to the right counsel. I'm listening to the right wisdom that's taking me into the future that I know I'm called to go. So two instances, and we're going to look at the second instance in a second, but this first instance, Pilate is giving orders. See, Pilate is an authority. Pilate has all authority over the realm that he's in. And he's saying, look, we know we can seal up this tomb, and this is what we're going to do. Take the watch, 60 to 600 men. You're going to seal up the tomb, go in a way that you know how to do this best and seal it up. And that should be enough. So when I'm looking at my future, I'm looking at the different authorities that's in my life. I'm looking at who's saying what in the direction they're saying to go in. See, here's the thing. Here's what's really interesting. A lot of times we don't always know who the best authority is. We may see some authority. We may know, oh, wow, this is great. We got some authority going. This person knows what they're talking about. But here's the thing. They know what they're talking about, but they may not have the right authority. They may have authority in the realm that they're in, but they may not have total authority. See, when we're looking at going into our future, we don't want to make the mistake. I don't want to make the mistake of listening to the wrong authority, right? Many years ago, not many, but several years ago when I was at my church, and I just remember some of the authority at the church, and not that I wanted to circumvent the authority was telling me to go in a direction that was not taking me into the right future. And I had to look at the authority and I just say, well, is that the authority I want to listen to? Or am I going to listen to the right authority, the one who has all authority? And I think it's at the end of Mark chapter, or is it Mark chapter? Yeah, it's Mark chapter 16. And at the end of Mark chapter 16, Mark is one of these books in the Bible where John, I think his name is John Mark. John Mark takes the account of Jesus, and he goes fast. He doesn't spend a lot of time just kind of going into a lot of the details, because the goal of Mark, at least based on what the account of the scriptures is saying, is Mark is trying to help the Gentiles to understand who Jesus Christ was. And so he just basically gives them enough that they can say, wow, this is the Christ. So at the end of Mark chapter 16 and verse number 15, and Jesus said to the disciples, go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. What? That's interesting. He that believeth and is baptized shall be saved, and he that believeth shall not be damned. We can stop there because the thing is, go your way. And Jesus is telling the disciples, hey guys, you got something. I'm giving you something, and now you got to go. See, if we were to choose like the chief priests and those guys, they chose the authority of Pilate, and they thought that authority would help them to be able to have and to do and to cover up what it is that that they had done. They said, man, we're going to make sure that this is sealed. We're going to make sure that this gets done. So their future got canceled. So as Jesus is talking to his disciples, as I'm looking at my future and I'm looking at the way, and I'm saying, wow, what way should I go? See, the world's going to give me a way. The world's going to give me a way. So the world's going to say, hey, it's just about that. Like in my business, there's taxes. Now, here's the thing. That's the way of the world. Even though I'm using it as a platform to get attention. And then from there, right, we use that to get attention. And then as we get attention, then what we do is we sprinkle in the yeast. You sprinkle in the leaven. So as we bring in the leaven, here it is, folks think that, oh man, this tax planning is great, but we're sprinkling in what the kingdom really is. And I'm actually going the same way that Jesus told the disciples to go. That's the way I'm going. I'm taking the gospel into the world. But here's the thing. It's covert. Like, it's not one of these missions where we're walking around talking about the gospel of Jesus. No, we're not doing that. No, what we're doing is we're taking and we're sprinkling in the principles. We're sprinkling in when I ask people, hey, what is your purpose in life? And most of the time what I get is, I don't know. I'm like, you're in the right place at the right time. Hey, you thought you was coming in for tax planning. You thought you was coming in to learn some new skills about growing your business. What you're really going to learn is your purpose. What you're really going to learn is how to discover your uniqueness in a way that you can go into all the world and go your way. So when I'm thinking about what's in my future and I'm thinking about what God has done for me, it's kind of like the paralytic. The paralytic is sitting there. He's at the pool and he wants to be healed. Every time the pool is, ruffled up, like they say, the angel of the Lord comes down and everybody runs to the pool. I don't have anybody. He says to Jesus, I don't have anybody to take me to the pool because I'm paralyzed. And Jesus is looking at him like, well, what do you want? What would you like? I would like to walk, sir. Well, get up because today you'll walk. So we want to get into the word. It's kind of like the word that was spoken over my life in March. And my friend Shauna, she posted on her wall, tax planning saves lives. And I told her, I said, yeah, it saves lives because we're coming in with our purpose. We're not just coming in with that. The word that was spoken in my life was that I was like an ambulance. I was like an ambulance helping people to like really saving people's lives. So the way that Jesus said to go, that's the way that I'm going, right? So when I look into my future and I look at these words and it says, go into all the world and take the gospel, preach the gospel to every creature in the King James Version. I'm going to take the gospel. I'm going to take the purpose for my life. I'm going to take the reason that God created me. I'm going to take the power that God placed in me from the very beginning. I'm going to take that in from the present. I'm not going to live in the future. I'm going to live in the present, and I'm going to go the way that God is telling me to go to help people. Right? To help people to become themselves, to help people to be fruitful, to help people to multiply, to help people to say to themselves, wow, I didn't know that I was capable of doing that. Wow. Yes, because I remember the first time I created something, the first time I thought of something and I was like, wow, I can do that. I didn't know. There wasn't a class on creativity for everybody. There was our classes. But there was no class that says, even in church, there was no class that says, you know what? You were created to be a creator and you must create. You must create to be a man or woman. If you don't create anything, I'm just saying, like, if you don't create anything, I can guarantee you, you're going to feel like something's missing. So what's in my future? I'm going away. I'm going the way that God's sending me, right where I am. Not someplace else, right where I am. Texas, accountants, accounting, account. So account for your life. That's what this mission is. That's what this podcast is all about. This podcast is all about your life and my life, right? And how we must account for it. So guys, I appreciate you. I love you. Hope you got value from this program. If you did, like, comment, share, let somebody else know that someone's out there looking to help them to discover the reason, the purpose for their life. Guys, I appreciate you. I love you. And I will see you on the next episode. Peace.
Thanks for joining us, listening friends. We are so glad you invested this time with us. Always remember, you only have one life to live, so live it to the fullest. This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it